What's up guys, today we're discussing Orisa and whether or not she will ever compete with Ryan. In the original release video back in March, she was promoted as an anchor tank, so today I want to see what steps did the Overwatch team make in order to actually shape Orisa into an anchor tank. If those steps bring Orisa closer to competing with Ryan, and does she need to compete with Ryan, or does she actually need to compete with no one and just fulfill her niche role? Let's start off with the recent Orisa changes. By recent I mean the beginning of May 2nd I believe. Fusion driver, damage reduced by 15%, meaning this is just gonna make it harder to kill squishy targets. Protective barrier cooldown reduced from 12 to 8 seconds. Orisa's damage being reduced might seem like a bad thing at first, but when we inspect what Orisa is known for, it's not for her damage. Orisa's damage downgrade was done so that I could open her up for new and better changes, which in this case was a shorter barrier cooldown. And speaking of barrier cooldown, how much does that barrier cooldown help Orisa, and does it help her keep up with Ryan? I would say no. It doesn't help her keep up with Ryan, and it does help her a little bit. Orisa's barrier is just not mobile enough to be warranted to be used in comp, especially when Reinhardt has more shield and can point the shield at anyone or anything that is a danger to him or his allies. Orisa can put down only one barrier and can only be protected by it when there are enemies in front of it. If suddenly the T-fight just changes direction or something like that, the barrier just becomes null and void. It doesn't mean anything. And the barrier only protects her from some enemies, but Pharah's, Genji's, Tracers, Sombras can get behind the shield and just disrupt her. They can do that with Ryan, but Ryan has a close range big ass hammer that can just hit him with. Orisa isn't like a danger to you if you know how to maneuver around her, and plus, you know, if you're Genji, Pharah, Tracer, Sombra, you can just get away. And she also has less health. And even Ryan has a tough time dealing with all the threats on the battlefield, and he has a mobile 2000 HP shield, like I said. So I don't think that buffing Orisa's shield is the way to go. And if we do get more buffs on her shield, we just might see people picking her and Ryan in comps just to have this, you know, shield type of comp. Even combo that with Symmetra, you can just have 3 people on the team who shield, and that would be just weird. I don't want to see that comp ever. That's why I want to focus on other parts of Orisa. What should we focus on? The only other thing that I could see being buffed in Orisa's kit is her right click. Her shift ability could be subjected to change, but I think that could be a different video in itself, so I will only mention that it could be changed and that, you know, it could be maybe made better, because in this current form it basically just protects her, no one else. So that really isn't pushing the narrative of anchor tank, is just, well, it protects her. So I'll just focus on her right click this video. Orisa is a relatively new character, as we know. March 2nd I believe was her release, and in my opinion she still hasn't found her place in the meta. Now, what other character was struggling with the same problem until she got buffed and changed like loads of times? That's right, Sombra. Sombra was almost a non-existing character, but until she got a string of buffs that helped her battle with other heroes in the game and just make her more agile, and just, I think she got a buff to her hack time, she got a buff to her translocator most notably, which helped her a lot, and it really just enabled her to walk through those doors of, you know, competitive and just play with the other characters. So I think that Orisa should get a change to her right click mini grab ability. She could have it with more range, she could have it travel faster, something that could make it more frightening to the enemy team when they see it, especially when it uses it on the maps that are easier for environmental kills. As we're trying to compare Orisa and Ryan in this video, I don't think we should be comparing those two at all. I just put that in the titles because I know people want to see Orisa challenge Ryan and maybe even take his place in the comp, or just current meta, I say. I don't think that's ever gonna happen unless they give her like a 2000 HP barrier shield and change her up a little bit more, or just make her mobile with her shield. I don't think she's ever gonna challenge Ryan. Ryan has a wide range of abilities that make him scary to the enemy team, but Orisa really is only scary in some situations where she can pull you off the map, and that's just like, well, if you're Pharah, Genji, and all these other characters that have the ability to be very mobile, you can just, you know, avoid that. But I don't think Orisa has that fear factor, I would say, that Ryan has. If Ryan is right next to you, let's say, would you not be scared out of your fucking mind because he's just gonna hit you with this big ass hammer? He can charge you, he can earth shatter you, he can pretty much negate you as a character if he's near you. But yeah, he's not good at very long range. So I would think Orisa, having her change to her mini grav, is maybe the only option she has left. I'm sure, yeah, maybe you can change roll or something like that, but I really think that the right click, if it traveled faster, had a little bit of a wider range, not wide enough to be just like a graviton, but like a little bit, just a teensy weensy little bit, just to make it a little bit more reliable, and also have it travel faster, because if it traveled faster, you know, people could not just avoid it like they do now. When you use your ability, if you're using it directly in front of someone, they're just gonna see and avoid it unless you right click immediately. But if it travels faster, they might not have the time, because, you know, they might not be Genji, Tracer, Sombra, or Pharah. They can avoid it. So I think that could be a very useful thing. So that kind of wraps around, because I don't think that we should compare Ryan and not Sombra, or Orisa. I'm kind of into the Sombra world again, because I kind of find a lot of similarities between Sombra and Orisa. They both were new characters, they couldn't find their way into the meta. Sombra recently did, but I think Orisa is yet to find her place. So I think that comparing her to Ryan is not really fair. I think that that's the problem of the developers. They promote her as an anchor tank. I don't think that's her role. She could be used, you know, with these abilities that she has, and she doesn't have to be an anchor tank. She can just be some other type of like secondary tank, off tank, let's say. She doesn't have to be the main tank. I don't think she can be the main tank unless she gets loads of buffs, in which case, like I said, we do not want to see Ryan and Orisa in the same team. That'd be like some stupid shield meta, whatever, and I do not want to see that. So I do think that we should focus on Orisa, on her, not her compared to Ryan. So that's kind of like a big point in this video that I want to drive to you guys, and it was fun comparing these two in a video. But I do think that Ryan is his own character, Orisa is her own character. Yes, they do have their similarities, but they have more non-similarities or just differences than they do similarities. So that's really something that you guys should understand. So yeah, I'm not saying I don't like Orisa. I don't think she just has a place in the meta right now, so I don't think that she should be played in any comps. Really, should she be played unless there's like Ilios or something like that, like maps they know you could get some value out of her right click. But until then, you should probably just stick to Ryan and or any other character that, you know, fits the comp until Orisa gets her buffs and changes. So yeah, that was kind of my point through this whole video, to show that Ryan and Orisa should not be compared, and also that Orisa should not be just Ryan 2.0. That's really stupid to me. And yeah, I hope to see some fun buffs to Orisa that will make her better and also viable in the current meta, and also just put her in there. Like, she doesn't have to be viable every single game. Not even Ryan's viable every single game. He's viable most games. Not even Sombra's viable every game. You know, she's viable some games. Not every character has to be viable every single time you play them. That's kind of the point of having 24 different characters. You play what is best suited for that game or that comp. So that's also something to keep in mind. Make Orisa viable enough so that she could be played in certain situations. It could be even a niche pick, like, you know, Junkrat, let's say. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you have a like. If you didn't, make sure you have a dislike. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.